What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here at GSD Mode Studios with another weekly real estate tip. And today I'm here to talk to you about how to get expireds for sale by owners and really any type of lead source calling you versus you having to cold call and chase them. All right, so real quick though, before I jump into how to do this and build a business where you attract, not chase, make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button below. And then when that subscribe button, once you hit that, that bell's gonna pop up. When you hit that, that will make sure that you are alerted every time a new one of these training videos is uploaded and released so you don't miss out on it. Plus, it just helps us grow the channel and grow the show by getting more views. If you're listening to this on anywhere on audio, make sure to leave us a 5-star raving review. Again, you guys, these are just ways that you can help support the show, give back to me if you want to, if you feel compelled to, but it allows us to get more views, grow this audience, grow our audience, grow our listener base, have a bigger impact out there. But also, when we're booking high-level guests for our podcast interviews, that's the first question I always ask. How many subscribers, how many downloads, how many 5-star reviews? Right? Like, I get it. That's their credibility, and time is money, right? So it helps us get higher level guests that we all want on the podcast. I want to pick their brains and deliver all their, brilliant information to all of you. So please support us on the show with that. All right, let's jump on in here. Again, we're going to be talking about, and what we're here to talk about and discuss today is how to get people, whether it's a for sale by owner or expire. I'm using those two as examples today because they're just an easy example to use. Plus, these are two of extremely effective lead generation strategies that I utilize in my business for sale by owners and expires, but get them chasing me, calling me, attracting me, versus the opposite of what most real estate agents are doing with cold calling and chasing and begging. Right? Now, first though, before I get into how to do this, it's really important to understand if you want to build a truly successful business and go pro, if you want to build a professional business, you need to build a business that attracts people, doesn't chase people. Professionals don't chase, they attract. Look, dude, Apple, and I know we're not Apple computers or Apple out there, right? But if we just we just got to do what other successful, the juggernauts, the best in the game are doing, and we'll become successful as well, right? But dude, Apple doesn't have a massive cold calling team calling you up trying to beg you to sell a computer. No. Instead, man, they get lines of people camping out to buy one of their new products. Right? Now, we may not, grow a business to that level by any means, but it's the same concept. We need to get people coming to us. And the reason being is you can't continue to grow and scale your real estate business by chasing people, because chasing requires you to trade it time for money, right? Like if I can eliminate, let's just say, and I don't cold call, and I haven't really my whole entire business, did it for a brief period of time my first year before I discovered that I absolutely hated it and discovered that it was the most ineffective way to grow a business. Right? I see this all the time in Facebook groups too. I can't believe that they would brag about this. I see posts of, oh yeah, I did 1,000 dials today. And I tripled down 1,000 dials today. And I set 2 appointments. I'm like, dude, that's fucking like. I would rather piss glasses to death. Number one, I don't want to sit there all day long doing the phone calls and getting rejected all day long and going through all of that. Like, that's just not a way. It's not enjoyable to me. I want to build a business that I enjoy doing each and every day. Like, I like to show up to work, fucking love what I do. And I mean, there's things that I got to do that I don't always enjoy, but I definitely don't want to do things that I hate and tactics that I hate. But then also, think how long it takes somebody to do 200, 500, 1,000 dials a day. Now, follow-up calls, right, and check-ins, like following up with your past clients, your sphere of influence, following up with really high-quality, good lead sources that are hot leads, that are as hot as a referral, let's just say. Follow-up is always going to exist, right? But even at my peak of when I was in personal production, so I'm still a real estate agent, team leader today, but I'm not working with buyers and sellers anymore. My agents on my team are, right? My job is to coach and train and support them to do that. But when I was personally in production, working with buyers and sellers, and personally selling hundreds of homes every single year myself, not counting team production, even at my peak of pulling in about 1,200 monthly leads, dude, I never spent more than a couple hours a day. It's usually 90 minutes. 2 hours would be a stretch of my day having to follow up with leads. Right? Because I would follow up with the right people at the right time with that process. I didn't have to spend all this time doing that. I see agents constantly that are doing 2, 3, 4 deals a month. They're spending 4 hours a day on the phones between prospecting, following up. I'm like, dude, you're doing it wrong, man. That's not a fun way to do business, right? Not at least in my opinion. So how do I get them calling me, right? So because again, and I kind of forgot my point here that I was going to, but if I have to spend 4 hours every single day calling expireds or whatever the hour amount of time is, well, eventually I'm going to get busy listing all those listing expires and taking all those clients. And eventually I'm going to hit a capacity. I only have so much time to go on so many listing appointments, right? Then I only have so much time to dial. Well, then they'd be like, oh, well, Josh, then I'll just create my team, right? Show me anybody out there. Well, maybe they're out there, but they're the unicorns that have had success at creating a successful cold calling team. It's very difficult, right? It's massive burnout. It sucks. Like, it's hard to get agents to do that, right? But it's very easy to build a team and have agents begging to work for you when you're attracting business and you're just able to spoon feed out business, right? So that is, again, to grow and scale, you gotta learn to attract, not chase. All right, so now let me also talk about the time, because there is time involved with this, but it's a different type of time than cold calling, like calling expires or whatever. So there is time that's involved in this, but it's a different type of time. And what I mean by that is it's like the time that it takes me in my business today, right? Like, okay, let's just say I work 8 hours every single day, right? Well, I keep adding agents and clients to my business, and we keep growing the business and making more money each and every year I've still got to put in time, but I'm able to scale it without having to put more time in. Where when you're cold calling and chasing business, it's like you working a job where you get paid X amount of dollars per hour. Yeah, right? Like everybody that works for me in my company, staff, W-2 employees, everybody's salary. Like I don't give a shit if they work 40 hours a week, 80 hours a week, or fucking 10 hours a week. It doesn't matter to me. As long as they get the results that I want to give. Like I don't like paying people, oh, I'm going to give you $10 for your 60 minutes, right? Like why would I punish somebody for 60 if they can figure out how to get it done in 10 minutes and want to chillax for that other 50 minutes? Why do I give a shit? Right? Like they're getting the same result, right? But that is what chasing business is like, because you only have so many hours in a day, so you can only make so much money when you're getting billed by hour, paid by hour, right? That's the difference, right? With this, but the time involved is a little bit different. The time involved is testing and content creation. Right? So as I'm testing things, what I mean by testing is like I've got to go out there and track things and see what works. And I'll explain more of this, like my expired example will really help explain this. It took me almost 4 years to get my expired letter dialed in, right? Now, it doesn't mean that I wasn't getting results during those 4 years. But to get it optimal of what it is today, and this letter's now brought in millions of dollars of revenue to my team and myself over the years, but also got agents that I've given this to that I've mentored and coached throughout the country that are using it and getting massive ROIs, so all over the place, right? But it took that 4 years of tweaking and testing it just to refine it, right? And also content creation, man, right? Like you've got to give people, you got to create valuable content for them to go check out and watch. Right? So, like this year, done already year to date 2.8 million in my online coaching business, right? So my online coaching business, my Mastery Bootcamp. Now I built that business this same way, where it's all attracting, not chasing, right? Now I've had to, so that's $2.8 million without me ever doing a phone call. Like I get text messages, hey Josh, I got questions about the program. I hate phones. I don't like talking to the phone. So I'll call my mom, call my wife, talk to my kids, talk to some of my best friends. So that like I don't get on the phone. I fucking hate the phones, right? I've invested the time developing, creating content and developing effective online funnels, right? That bring in that revenue. Where then now, boom, I'm not having to show up to do it. Thanksgiving Day, I made like $6,000 on Thanksgiving Day through automated funnels. Where I just get an email, okay, and they made another grand, like, right? So there's time, and that's not for me to brag. Like it's taken time, right, to refine that process for the online, my coaching program, right? that shit, I'm still refining it, working on it, always testing it, never really stops. But it took really about 3 years to really get that dialed in and get that rock and rolling. But then when you invest that time and now you can scale it, so next year in 2020, like, dude, I plan on doing $7 million in revenue in that business. Right? And it's not going to take any more time now at this point, and I can continue to scale it. So it's a lot. The reason I want to share this is because a lot of real estate agents that I talk to think that, oh yeah, well, if I just get people calling me and I'm not having to chase them, I'm going to save all this time. Well, up front, it's probably not going to save you any more time. But if you're anything like me, the time is much more enjoyable. Right? Like, I'd rather create content and whatever than have to get told to fuck off all day long, right? Like, I hate being cold called. I hate when people knock on my doors. I don't like doing things to other people that I don't like. So I don't feel good about it. Plus, it's just not a fun way for me to do business. So you're still going to have some time and testing involved with this. All right, so let me get into the exact examples. So I'm going to talk about my expired letter. So when I'm talking about testing here, right? So the first thing is, I don't care if you're calling expireds or if you're wherever you're marketing to them. Like, I need to start tracking and monitoring. All right, like, where am I getting the actual listings? Because you guys have all heard of the 80-20 rule, right? So that says that 80% of our efforts yields us 20% of our results, and 20% of our efforts usually yield us 80. So I want to start paying attention. Okay, well, what are the zip codes? What are the neighborhoods? What are the price points? What are the ages, style the houses, whatever? And I want to identify, okay, hey, what's my 80% or more? Like, where's the most of my business coming from so I can X out the waste, right? So we're tracking that. Then I'm also going to be tracking how many letters sent per actual closing that I'm getting, right? So I want to track that. Then from there, other testing that you're going to have to do, like I had to test, okay, hey, if I'm going to send a letter, now this is a letter that I send, right? Okay, well, what's step number one? They got to open the fucking letter. They just throw it in the mail or the trash, right? Which we all do. I don't know about you guys, but like, I know what bills I have. I know what looks to be like spam, right? So usually most of them aren't even ever getting open. They're just getting ripped. It's just wasted money for whomever, right? I'm guessing some people open them up, otherwise they probably wouldn't be doing them, but like, you know what I'm talking about, right? So step number one is that they got to get open. So I started testing different colors of envelopes, different systems. And at the end of the day, I found color not to really make a difference. It doesn't matter if it's white, yellow, orange, green, whatever. But what did make a difference is always having a first class stamp on there and then hand writing out the envelope in blue ink. But then on your return address, never making it look like it's coming from a business, right? So like the office building I'm in now today, the address, nobody locally could tell that this wasn't a house address, right, by just looking at it. Where the building I was in previous to this, right, on Bell Road, which on Bell Road, it's probably the busiest street that runs all through Phoenix Metro. It's only businesses. There are no houses on Bell Road, right? There might be some apartment buildings, but there's no friggin' houses, right? So anybody in the cities that I work, they're like, all right, that's a business. Right, so at that time, you can either put them then in that, if you're in that situation, you address them from your personal residence. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, there's virtual mailboxes out there. There's one called Phoenix Virtual Mailbox. So just Google Phoenix Virtual Mailbox. So I don't know what the cost is. I can't remember what the cost is, but they give you an address that looks to be legit. But instead of being a post office box, it looks like a legit address, right? But everything goes to them, right? Gets forwarded to their actual address, business address. They scan it, and then it gets emailed to you. So it's a virtual mailbox for you, but then that way it looks like a personal address. Don't use labels, none of that. Yeah, it takes time. Got to handwrite each one, right? And on average, it takes me a minute to stuff each envelope. But I'll talk to you about that here in a minute. Okay, number one, I got to get open, right? Then from there, like when they open the letter, like I got to get their attention. So I get a picture of the front of their house, right? I take the best picture of the front of their house off the MLS from what their agent had before, right? Now, and I've vetted this with my broker, with the local department, and from everything of my knowledge, it is allowed, at least for me. Like check with your own broker. I'm not giving you permission. I'm not a broker. I'm not I don't work for the Department of Real Estate. So vet this yourself. Right? The argument is, oh, Josh, like you can't use other people's photos, right? Well, like, dude, when I get the listing, I'm going to pay for my own photos. I'm taking a copy of this image, putting it on this letter, sending it to the homeowner that the other agent let down for whatever reason. right? So nobody else has seen this. Like I've, maybe knock on wood, I can't tell you how many hundreds of thousands of these I sent out over the years, never one issue, right? So I have a picture of their home, bam, that gets their attention. Right? I've got a compelling headline right above the photo that makes them feel good, it gets their attention. They see this photo here. Then I have it dear, but their name. So I go into the tax records and I make sure I get out their name. Dear John and Sarah, right? And again, this takes time, but having it personalized is powerful, right? Then I have a quick paragraph. It's about 4 sentences long. Like, I called so many expireds, I've listed so many expireds, I've worked with so many expireds. Like, I know what their fears are. I know what their questions are, what their concerns are. So that paragraph is just speaking to them. It's like, hey, look, I know you're getting bombarded with agents reaching out to you, begging you for your listing. I'm not here to beg for your listing. I'm just here to let you know that if you still have a goal of selling, if you decide at any point, whether that's now or any point in the future, that you do want to put your home back on the market for sale, I'd love an opportunity to interview for the job. I've checked out your listing, blah, 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 and I'm confident I can get the job done. And then I have a bullet points of unique selling propositions and things that I do that their other agent didn't do, like my one-day listing agreement, right? Your home sold guaranteed or we buy it. And, right? Whatever our guarantees are that we have that, again, differentiate us from the other agents. And a little call to action at the bottom with my information, and that's it, right? So one simple letter. But then from there, okay, so I got the letter open. They have to, once they open it, it has to get their attention. They have to read it, right? Well, then from there, we got to understand with expireds, over 90% of them don't relist for the first 4+ months, right? Like they need a break. They're tired. They're not going to relist right away. Some will. So I'm going to send it out the first day that it expires, but then I need to keep following up, right? And this is what took me 4 years is I had immediate success with the letter, but I thought it was so simple, right? I kept thinking I needed to tweak it and do more to it. And my letter after 4 years ended up being very close to the first original letter. Yeah, right? Because I end up now sending that letter. It's day one and then every 21 days for the first 6 months, then every 6 months for the next 2 years after that. Yeah, right? So you're talking 2.5 years or whatever, they're getting that same letter, just over, boom, 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 same letter. And I was like, I can't be right. Because like my short sell mailers, the strategy that crushes it, right? There's 10 different letters that I send them over 10 weeks. Our letters, mix of letters and postcards, and each one's different. And that's what we found to crush it. And my FSBO mailing system is slightly different. And it was just so simple. I'm like, there's got to be a more effective way. And I kept thinking I had to add more to it, and realized that the opposite to be true. Right? But then from there, then I have to have a system to make sure to remind me to stuff those envelopes and so forth, right? But the return on this, you guys, is anywhere between, the worst I've ever had is a 12x ROI, meaning you stick $1 into ATM, $12 spits back out. The best I've had is a 16x, which is $1 in the ATM, $16 out. Now, here's the kicker, though, right? I found that anybody that follows this process to a T and does it consistently for 6 straight months, never stops, right? Then everybody that I've known to ever do that has crushed it with it. And plus, in my own business as well, we've crushed it. But I share this because I now have agents that I've shared this strategy with from all over the country that are doing it in all different markets, right? So then that you can't use the excuse of, oh, Josh, that's just in Phoenix. That won't work in my area because that's another bullshit statement, right? But it does take that build-up time. Right? Now, here, then you could take it to the next level. This is what I forgot a really important point. What I love about this is, yes, this does take time. I'm having to stuff the envelope, having to test track, but you guys, it's not as urgent as calling day one, because you got to really hit them day one, and there's only appropriate times to call them, right? If this gets in their mail, day 2, day 3, day 4, it doesn't really freaking matter. Yeah, right? Because again, most of those are going to list 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, year out, right? They're not listing right out of the gate. So I want to get them out day 1 or 2 as soon as I possibly can, right? But I could do it late at night. So after I'm meeting with my clients, doing all my work, let's just say between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m., well, then after dinner, then I can be watching a show, having a beer, having a glass of wine with my wife, and we could just be stuffing envelopes, right? Which is how we started off on this. Then after we popped a couple deals, we didn't take the profits from that, right? We kept it there, and we reinvested that into hiring an assistant to come in an hour a day. So think like a high school kid, $12 an hour, right? Come in for an hour a day, which is all it takes to stuff these, for an hour a day. right? So then when you break that down, that still you're like I don't know, 100, 150 bucks in their salaries per closed listing of stuff in those envelopes. So then it becomes a true attracting marketing method or lead generation method, if you will. We're now, and check this is my favorite part. ROI, everything I just said was great, right? But my favorite part is now I have expireds calling me saying, hey, Josh, been getting your letters. We're thinking about relisting our home and putting our home back on the market. We were wondering if you'd come out to the house so we could set up a meeting for us to talk and talk about our options to list our home. Like, those are the calls I want. They're coming to me. They're asking for a meeting with me versus me calling them, right? And being like, you're the 30th realtor to call me today. Where the fuck were you when my home was listed? You guys don't want my business now. Where were you? I'm getting ready to unplug my phone. Right? Like, those are the calls you get day one. Right? Or the responses you get day number one. I got them coming to me. That's what I want. All right. So the second example here is with for sale by owner. So we've created a for sale by owner kind of a campaign kit, whatever you want to call it. That's a value add to them. Right? We do a free open house on their property. Anybody that comes in, like they get a copy of all the leads, they can see all the leads. Anybody that's interested in the property, that wants to buy the property, we give them that person. They don't owe us a commission. But look, I get a lot of agents that freak out about this. They're like, well, I don't work for free. Look, I don't work for free either, right? Let's deal in realities. Less than 0.5% of people through an open house want to buy an open house, or like want to buy that property. Have I had people want to buy that for sale by owner? Yes. We've had, I don't know, half a dozen over the years of 1,000 or so of these that we've done, right? But I'm doing open houses anyway. This is where I get my open house storefront, right? But then we know statistically, according to forsalebyowners.com, in 2019, 60% of for sale by owners end up listing with an agent and selling successfully through an agent after attempting to sell on their own, right? And then we know statistically that only 8% of them have success at actually selling on their own. There's a difference of 92% that fail, and then that 60% list with agents. It's because someone just decided to give up on the process and or maybe they just wanted too much money or whatever. But 60%, right, end up hiring and listing with an agent. So I know I've got a great shot at this, right? So then, though, we do the open house for them. We develop the connection. I'm not trying to close them. I'm not trying to, like, my promise to them is I'm never going to ask you for a commission dollar. I'm never going to ask you for a cent, right? Here's all the value. That's tons of value adds to them with that. We give them a bunch. Then we have a for sale by owner free resource kit, right? Well, we give them a blank purchase contract because they're going to need a contract to write an offer when they get the property. We give them, all of our vendors. Well, you don't have to use an agent, but you do have to use a title company. Here's, a seller book and information from our preferred title company that that I recommend. Here is a guest registry. So everybody that comes through your property, you can have them sign on here, get their information, and you can follow up with them. Right? Inside there, though, we also give them like our How to Prep Your Home for Sale staging guide. Give them, we have a whole email campaign that we put them on that teaches them how to do their own Facebook ads, how to do their own open houses, how to follow up with leads, how to do their follow-up calls, right? It's all stuff that helps them, right? And again, people are like, agents are like, Josh, man, why would you do this? Why are you helping them? Is that hurting you? No, right? Because again, even in a really tight, low inventory market like we've experienced for the last years and years for most of us, we're still listing 32% of them. After we do the open house, 32% of them end up listing and selling with us after doing that open house right now. Right? So that's a huge percentage. And you guys, look, if they don't list with me, no skin off my back, right? Like I was doing the open house anyway, right? Like I got a ton of business out of the open house, right? So it's just it's kind of a win-win-win for everybody. But these are just a couple examples of how to get people calling you to set up meetings with you and reach out to you to help grow your business so you can attract, not chase. And there's whatever the lead source method is. Maybe you're like, Josh, I'm not doing expires or FSBOs. It doesn't matter, right? Like whatever source it is that you're doing, you can develop the same system. You just might need to find, again, I guarantee you there's somebody out there that is doing it, right? So go find out who they are. Whether it's in our industry or not, go find out who they are, and figure out what they're doing and copy what they're doing and invest the time to figure this out. It's worth the time. It's going to be some time. There's going to be frustration points. There's going to be some headaches. I'm not saying that this shit's easy. It all takes work, but it's doing the right work that'll allow you to grow and scale your business where you don't just get stuck being the hamster in the wheel. So anyway, guys, I hope that you found this content valuable and this information today. If you have any questions on this, just leave me a comment here on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on audio, jump on the YouTube video and leave me a comment, because I check the YouTube comments personally every single day, Monday through Friday, and I'm responding to those personally. So, if you have questions about this, I'm more than happy to answer your questions in regards to any of this. And real quick before we go, make sure to check us out at gsdmode.com, which is our main podcast website, where you can see a ton of other great content like this, plus our leveling up mindset, motivational series, our podcast interviews, tons of other free training, tools, resources, tips on there, all for free to help you grow your business. Also, make sure to check out growmyrealestatebusiness.com, which is my personal 3-hour-long online masterclass that I'm hosting right now, where I'm sharing everything that I know, everything that I've learned, top lessons I've learned in my 14-plus year-long career that's allowed me to become one of the top real estate agents and team leaders on the planet. And the reason it's 3 hours is because we go deep. Like, I'm not here to waste your time, but it takes time, right, for us to break down what to do, what to focus on. This is like the top advice I could ever give anybody in this training after knowing what I know now today, right? But I got to make sure that slow down and break it down so you understand the concepts. Then I've got to make sure that you know how to execute and implement this stuff. So when this 3-hour training is done, like I give you all the resources, action item guides, instructions, and directions, now how to implement, execute on this stuff for you to have success with it. Because if I don't do that, if you show up for 3 hours and you're learning stuff, but you don't know how to take action, execute on it, you just wasted fucking 3 hours. And I honor and respect your time. I'm not here to waste it. But check it out. It's extremely, extremely powerful. We've had about 10,000 agents through it so far, and the feedback that we're getting is amazing. So growmyrealestatebusiness.com. Also, make sure to join the free Facebook GSD Mode group, private Facebook group, which is thousands of real estate agents from all over the planet. Just a place for us to mastermind. It's a safe place. You guys, all these resources, everything I'm talking about today, just like the information on this video today, is all free. This is my way to give back to an industry that's given me so much and changed every aspect of my life, right? So inside that group, there's no selling. Anybody that even self-promotes one time, bam, they're booted, removed from the program, never allowed back in. Like, we're very strict on that. Like, dude, we get sold all day long as real estate agents, right? Like, I hate being sold. I know you don't want to be. So these are just places for us to go out there and learn and mastermind and kick ass. So all the links to all those will be below. So check those out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.